Happy Tuesday, welcome back. Okay, so we're going to go straight into getting like reacclimated with finding volume. A lot of you guys are really strong with this, so this is going to be some really helpful practice for you guys, just like remembering how to use length, width, and height to find volume. And then what you would do if you already have the area of your base and you just need to multiply it times your height. So without further ado, let's get straight into the example. Right now I have a blank whiteboard. That's because I want to show you guys like a really cool hack. I've shown some of you all already and when we were still in school, how to make your own rectangular prism. Now it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't always have to look exactly like what the example does. The important thing is that you draw out your own example so that visually it makes sense for you. And then you can just label it how you need to. So I'm going to start off by making two rectangles. And then when I have those two rectangles kind of in the corners of each other, I'm just going to draw lines connecting those corners. So you can draw it like this. Might even be easier and quicker if you did it in your notebook, but you can totally do this if you have like one of those softwares that like lets you draw shapes and lines. So boom, I have like my janky little rectangular prism, and now I'm going to just label it so I know that the width up here is 4.7 centimeters. The height is 5.9 centimeters. And the length is 7.4 centimeters. So I'm just gonna label these length, and like this might even be helpful for you guys as you are kind of going through these to label them yourself so that you know what they are. This is the height because this is saying like how tall this cylinder is. I mean, how tall this prism is. And then this dimension is saying how wide it is. Okay, so now that we have all of that info, we can go with following our steps to find volume. Step one is always going to be the same. We're going to just write the formula. It's really hard to mess it up when you write the formula first. Volume equals length times width times height. And then we plug in the values for everything that we know. And we're only going to solve one thing at a time every time we like move down and create a new line. One, so that we one, so that we know if we make a mistake, we know exactly where the mistake is. And then two, just so that our work looks really nice, neat, and organized. So here I have volumes, width times height. I plugged in my numbers on the second line. Now for this next one, I'm just going to multiply 4.7 and 5.9. 4.7 times 5.9 gives me 27.73. And then I'm going to multiply that times 7.4. And on this next line, this would be what happens when I multiply those two together. And the answer is 205.202 centimeters cubed. Now, for the purposes of like what we're doing with Google Forms and all of that, you're not gonna have to like put your units in your like units cubed. I just want you to put the number so that you don't get those questions marked wrong when you actually got them right. So just put the number. Don't worry about the units. I'm gonna have to trust that you guys know how to do and like you will remember the units when it's time. So this is the first example. Example one. Now, the only thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete the dimensions for example two. What you'll learn is that like the actual sketch does not have to be fancy. It does not have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be something that you can work off of and like that you can like answer the problem by having a visual thing to work with. So I'm gonna go read the problem. Example two, find the volume of the rectangular prism. Enter the volume in cubic inches. So this shape looks a little different. It's shorter and longer, but I'm gonna keep the dimensions. I'm gonna label this one as if it were that one. So it says it's 9.4 meters wide. We know that it is 3.0 meters high. And it is 4.1 meters long. All right. Now what we do next is the same like what we did up here. The only big difference is that our final answer is going to be in meters and not centimeters. So I'm going to first start off by just putting, let me label this sum so this makes sense when you're looking back. Example 1, example 2. So first things first, I put my formula. Then I'm plugging in for my formula. So my length is 4.1 times my width, which is 9.4, times my height, which is 3. And then I'm going to just solve this as I normally would, step by step, so that the work is like laid out and it clearly makes sense. You can go back and double check your work if and when you make a mistake. So first, 4.1 times 9.4, 38.54. And we're multiplying that times 3. And then we do 38.54 times 3, which gives us 115.62 meters to the third power, or cubic meters, or meters cubed. This is what that work should look like, guys. This is what I'm expecting like your notebooks are going to be looking like. I think I'm going to start giving out extra credit points if you guys like attach a screenshot or a picture of your notes after you submit it. I'm totally like open to giving some extra credit points for that. So make sure that one, that these answers are correct. Would make absolutely zero sense why these answers would be incorrect, as you've just seen me do the work. And I'm going to leave a few options in there, whether you just do the whole number. I would say round to the nearest tenth at the very least. So you should have 1 or 2 decimal points in your final answer. All righty, folks. And so what I mean by that is this would just be 205.2 or 205.20. So that is the notes for today's lesson. When you get done, double check, make sure that everything looks good. And when it looks good, you're gonna get all of those points. How do you know? Because I know that when you do the work, you get the right answer, you see the results. That's all I got for you guys today. Hit me in office hours, call me, text me, whatever. Cool. Peace.